Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. I'm in the void because I went right from recording, right from live streaming to recording this video, and I quite frankly just needed to go because I got a busy afternoon after this. I got to work out, I got to eat, I got to shave my head because I'm doing quarantine shave number 2, so I'm going to go back to being nearly bald again for the next video you'll see me in, and then I got to shower, and then I'm probably going to do some Genshin Impact in the evening because that's what I've been doing the past couple of weeks. But I got to go because I actually ended stream 30 minutes late today. And so, yeah, thank you to our patrons for sponsoring this show. They're the sponsors, the names that are scrolling. Thank you to all of them for supporting the channel as they have. They've done a lot more than I expected them to, considering it literally just supports the YouTube channel and nothing else, but you guys are awesome, and thank you for that. Our Patrons of Darkness, Khuja Cross on Jenova and Kurenai Oni, thank you to both of you for going above and beyond. And thank you to all of you for tuning in to this week's Q&A. So let me get to this so I can take care of all those things so I can enter our patch 5.35 week with relative ease and comfort. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. This one's from today. Well, it's 16 hours ago, so it's not quite today, but almost. Hello, Haps. Hope you're doing aight. I'm doing aight. You doing aight? I'm doing aight. Just today, I made it to Ultimate Suppression on Uwu 3 times, and it's a lot to take in, even with how much I studied it beforehand. How do you handle the process of suppression learning the first time you progged and cleared? And regarding Annihilation, how did you handle the Orb Soaking to make healing the massive raid-wide damage coming during it easier on healers? The Orb Soaking should just literally be on the tanks. We did 1 tank, 2 tank, 1 tank, 2 tank. And that was all we did for the orbs. Then we made sure to pop the 1 tank orbs first going into the phase after suppression and the 2 tank orbs after. Other than that, really wasn't that hard. Not everybody should be being hit. I know some groups do like 1-4, 1-2 or some stuff like that, but we never did that. So that's my experience as far as I'm concerned. As for suppression, it's just a process of elimination. You look over your head and under your feet. If you're not targeted by any of that, you're the jail. I mean, that's literally all it is. And if you are targeted by one of those, then you just respond to whichever thing you're targeted by. And then if you're targeted by nothing even after the jail, then you're the laser. You're the person who has the laser chasing you, and you need to go off to the other side once everything's done with Garuda and whatnot. But it's just a process of elimination for suppression. As long as you know what each of the markers does or each of the AoEs does, and you know you've been targeted or haven't been targeted by something, then that's all you really need to know. It's kind of similar. There's other mechanics that are similar in UCOB with Grand Octet, for example. And T is not really, I guess Wormhole's the closest thing to that, but everyone gets a number over their head, so it's a little bit different. But that's it. That's all I really did for suppression, was just process of elimination. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Happy. Hope all's going well with you and you've recovered enough for patch day. I actually have. I'm, as you can tell, I'm kind of in high spirits today. I've actually got a question about headphones. Gotcha. I know you're sponsored by SteelSeries and mention them frequently. I do, and they were sponsored by SteelSeries, don't forget. I was really hoping to snag a pair of those PS5. The Arctis 9X, I'm sorry, they have the 9X and the 9P now, which I'm not... Actually, I think I have a pair of those around here somewhere, now that I think about it. I think I have a box right there. I'm almost certain that box has a pair in it that I haven't used yet because I have the Pro Wireless anyway. I was hoping to get some restock. Let's see. Is there really an audio or range difference between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth headphones at this point? PS5 is Bluetooth 5.1 and Wi-Fi 6, but the headphones use their own dongle. I don't know if I should... I don't know if I want to take one of my previous USB slots for it, if they're not as good as the PS5 ones or just as good. So you're wondering about whether or not you want to get a USB headset for your PlayStation 5 or something that uses the audio jack. Because I actually I don't remember if the PS5 controller has an audio jack on it. I'd assume it does, given the PS4 one right here does. My personal recommendation, if you're looking for a headphone specifically for the console, to go with something other than like the high grade 9P or 9X. The 1 and the 3s will work just fine, and I believe both of those have an audio jack, so as long as the controller has it, that should be more than fine enough if that's really all you're actually looking for. I don't have that much experience with using the SteelSeries headsets on consoles. I've only plugged them in a few times just to see that they work, or maybe test out the dual audio function, which comes with the 3 Bluetooth as well as the 9P and the 9X, I believe. So if you're looking for something that dongle for the... What are your thoughts? If they're a good enough pair of headphones, I might just pick them up for my PC. Well, okay, I mean, I enjoy my Pro Wireless. I personally recommend the 5 or the 7 for PC. They're at a much more affordable price range. The 5 is a wired headset, the 7 is wireless. The main reason I do the Pro Wireless and the reason I don't recommend them normally is because A, they're really expensive out of most people's budget, because you're really just looking for headphones to enjoy for gaming, and I think the 5 and the 7 meet most people's budgetary needs a lot easier. Pro Wireless, the only reason I use them pure wireless. It's a battery swap instead of ever having to plug them into charge. The 7s you'll have to plug into charge, and the 5s, they'll be plugged in all the time because they're wired. But again, if you're just looking for PS5, I'd highly recommend going with the 1 or the 3, while the 9Ps are definitely nice, especially the dual audio functionality. If they're out of stock, it's not going to make or break you to actually go down to the 1 or the 3. I know plenty of people who even use the 5s and the 7s if they're willing to use that USB slot for their console as well. If you're looking for one that is good for both PC and PS5, and you're just going to get a USB one anyway, go with the 5 or the 7. 5 if you want wired, 7 if you want wireless. Either of those should work just fine and will be at a much better price range, and I'd hope are available as I'm making this explanation. Also, by the way, for anyone who ever watches my videos, as much as, you know, I get a kickback on the affiliate link for SteelSeries, if you get a discount somewhere else, buy them there. The discount and the affiliate link are for me, but ultimately, the consumer, you guys need to, you know, do what's best for you. So don't feel like you have to buy from the link. If Best Buy's website doesn't have it, but Amazon does, or I'm sorry, if SteelSeries website doesn't have it, but Amazon or Best Buy does, buy from there. Doesn't make a difference to me. You know, I'll live. I'm sponsored by them. I'll be just fine. So treat yourself, and hopefully some of those explanations were of use to you. All right, hashtag Mrhappy Mondays. Hello, hi, hey there. Insort? I'm talking too fast today. The energy's high. Insert fourth greeting here. This is an older topic, but I'm curious about your thoughts because it's about Blue Mage. People are still upset that it isn't a real job, and we know the dev team said they wanted to make sure it had the feel of the class, and you had to go out and earn the spells in the field or dungeons. Then the conversation comes in about, well, why can't it be both? Clearly, it'd be okay to bring Blue Mage into regular duty finder dungeons, and it'll be okay. Hearing this gives flashbacks to A Realm Reborn when Marauders Warriors would get yelled at for not having flash, or other classes would be... I mean, you're literally answering your own question. I don't know what my thoughts are even needed here. Do you believe there could be a way to integrate... I mean, Blue Mage always could have been just job quests every 5 levels, 2 levels, whatever level range they normally get job quests. And you could just, part of that job quest could be to force you to learn a spell, and then those are the spells that you have. That's always been the possible solution to having that feel with completely eliminating the way the job functions right now. That would, of course, eliminate the ability to pick and choose the spells that you actually bring. You'd always have to have the same spells, or everyone would yell at you, of course. So it would basically eliminate the hunting aspect for sake of making it a full job. That's always been something that was feasible, but not something that was in line with their vision of Blue Mage, to just streamline it like they do all the rest of the jobs. But they had to make sure, if they were going to do that, that it was going to be streamlined like the rest. So they opted into making it its own thing. I still really enjoy Blue Mage. I wish I had more time to play it, more reasons to play it, things like Palace of the Dead solo, or more content that was exclusively for Blue Mages that was a bit more in-depth, but it doesn't make or break my experience with Final Fantasy XIV, nor am I sore about the execution of it altogether. The Blue Mage raids that I did were fun and exciting, and I understand that a lot of people don't have that access to a group of friends as interested as I do. I have a lot of friends who genuinely enjoy Blue Mage and are looking forward to Blue Mage raids and are waiting for the next ones because they really want to do Ultimate or Omega. But I can only speak from my experiences. They're anecdotal, but they're my experiences. So I don't think they'll ever do anything. They'll ever change anything, and it'll just continue to be a limited job that gradually updates over time with new raids to do, or like, you know, access to the higher level raids as they level up, or ultimates, or, you know, mass carnival stuff, and who knows if they have anything else planned. We'll have to find out in the future. But I don't think they will. It's just they definitely could have in the past. Hashtag Mrhappy Mondays. Hey man, hi, newest sub, first time question, welcome. There's no way to ask this without being called a scrub, but here it goes. Do you think positionals are dated nowadays? The game has seemed to hate melees being close to the boss for a couple of expansions. Also, a lot of them have been trimmed or barely used, like Nin only having one in the back, where they should be always, besides extra damage or armor crush. Or Monk having a super long Riddle of Earth. I don't think you sound like a scrub, I think you sound logical to look at how the game has evolved, how these skills have been pruned back and or given alternatives to make it easier to do or to make it more accessible, and wonder if it's even necessary in the first place. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing based on the way the game has gone, and I don't think you should think you're a scrub for asking that question. I still enjoy positional, so I can only speak again from my experience. I enjoy the dance back and forth. I like that that's part of a melee's job, is figuring out how can I do this best. And if you achieve what is possibly best, and it's maybe not as much as you were hoping, to me, that's fine. Some people look at that as like this awful thing or this design flaw. It's like, this is what, as long as I was able to achieve the maximum of what was feasibly possible given that situation, that's enough for me. That doesn't make or break me. That doesn't make or break the job. It doesn't change anything. It's the same as any other job in any other situation. You need to make the best of a situation given how much movement is involved, boss position, mechanics happening at the same time. Just be as good as the game will let you to be, and then maybe even strive to be a little bit better. We've seen some crazy strats that allow melee uptime, and that is definitely not always intended, but it's great to see things like that coming out of the innovation of people who want to push these jobs to their limit and want to achieve the maximum amount of damage. And then you have people who just do the mechanic normally, and that's fine, and they'll get what the best they can out of it. So I think it's okay. I do agree with the stance that they've moved what seems like further and further away from it even being something that needs to be in the game, but I'm glad it is, and I kind of hope it doesn't go anywhere. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Happy. Hope all is still good. So Genshin Impact, huh? That sure has taken off with a big part of the community. It sure has. So just for fun, have you declared your favorite waifu and or husbando? I don't really do this. I sometimes meme around about it. Like I'll call it like Breath of the Waifu or Weeb of the Wild or whatever nickname with Genshin Impact. And obviously people regularly reference, waifus, husbandos with anime style games or content or mangas or whatever. I don't really care, but for sake of the joke, my boy Razor is voiced by the same person who did the voiceover for Kevin in Trials of Mana Remake, and for some reason, this voice actor has been typecasted as a wolf boy, so I'm gonna go with Razor/Kevin, because they're the best. That's it. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey man, hope you're doing well. Hope the same for you. Time for another progression question by Rhymes. Finally beat E8 Savage on Monday. Congratulations, ending my super late start first Savage tier adventure. Beyond grinding, I thought it said griefing. Bro, I'm just reading. Beyond grinding the fight for weapons and working on optimization parses, what is a good next step to continue getting better at the game? Ultimates? Read my mind on that one. What are some things top tier raiders do that I can learn to work on and continue to improve? It depends on, are you doing this in the party finder or with a static? Because that changes the answer. When people are doing things with a static, it's not uncommon to look back at the strategies you used and improve them for things that would allow better uptime, like the question we were talking about before. Either that or moving on to a more difficult fight, like ultimates. Any of them will do. The level 71s or the Epic of Alexander. Any of the three will really do the trick. Or you can look toward 5.5 with that ultimate and maybe just kind of chill for a little bit, enjoy yourself, maybe not just jump immediately into another stress-inducing scenario, and then take the 5.4 ultimate and, 5.4 Blue Mage raids and 5.4 48-man Savage and do those and then maybe worry about ultimates somewhere down the line. But if you're looking to immediately jump into something, ultimates is going to be the obvious answer. Hashtag Mr. Slackaholic Mondays. You asked this 5 days ago? Because I had to play my alt today, and I haven't played that character in ages otherwise, so I'm surprised to see that. Hello, I hope you've been doing fantastic, and I'm back with another question. Hello, and welcome back. Do you expect the current way tanks work to stay around for the next expansion? Do you think they'll bring back how it was in previous expansions, or maybe they'll come up with something new? I don't know what any of that means. If you mean will they undo changes like tank stance changes or enmity no, none of that's ever changing back. It's never going to happen. To how to play now, they barely differ from DPS. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it's going to work. As a tank, your job is to hold aggro and live. Anything that is otherwise unsurvivable by the other jobs becomes your responsibility. Other than that, your job's rotation is your other contribution. They don't want you just standing around doing only the most defensive things when you have players with a vastly higher amount of knowledge and skill who are doing something entirely differently that vastly outperforms the other player. They want to get you both on the same track. Ultimately, it's way more approachable nowadays because it used to be the bad tanks were the ones in tank stance, focusing on their enmity, and the good tanks were the ones that stayed in their DPS stance but still kept aggro because they understood the job and how it could function at its absolute best. It was better skill expression, but it was essentially, it allowed for a divide where you had the tank players who were like, no, I'm a tank, this is my job, I'm supposed to live. And then you have the other people who are like, I can survive and just still be better than that. You fucking suck, boot this guy. And it was terrible. Now you're all on the same track, and it's just about how well each person knows their job and executes on it, whether that be your DPS rotation, your ability to mitigate damage. Most of the time, your DPS rotation, but trust me, I've seen some shit. Even after Shadowbringers and tanks, I've seen some shit, all right? So that's never going to change back. They'll get new abilities. They'll move the things they currently have around, maybe rework Dark Knight again, who knows? But it's going to stay the same idea going forward, without a doubt. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Mr. Happy, thanks for giving your input last week to my question. I don't even remember it, but you're welcome. Got 3 new questions for you this week. With the discussion of gill sinks in A Realm Reborn and Heavensward, the Beast Tribe mounts are gill sinks of some kind. They are pathetic gill sinks, but you are technically correct. They changed that with starting with Stormblood Beast Tribes. Why was that? I don't know, because they wanted to throw a currency at them, and it made sense to, if they were already giving currencies for the old ones, they might as well make it part of the mount grind as well. Made sense, but whatever. I enjoyed the Ishgardian restoration and rebuilding. However, when Ishgard was first announced, I felt like we were actually going to be able to repair the foundation. No, that was never going to be the case. They've been telling us since the beginning that we were going to have a separate zone for it, and that was what we were going to be fixing up, the residential area. Well, it's more recently become known as the residential area, but no, they've been telling us since the beginning we would have our own separate zone and that's where it was going to be taking place. And 3, has anyone ever proposed the idea of buying old tombstones with Gil as a Gil sync mechanic? No, but you know what? I actually support that. The idea of buying Poetics with Gil so you could just convert it immediately into gear. I think that the downside of that being that people have to do less content that rewards Poetics, and then you have to come up with a proper pricing structure, because it can't be too expensive, but it also can't be nothing, can't be pennies. So I don't think the idea is inherently flawed. I think it's unlikely, because I think they'd rather get people queuing into things that actually reward Poetics or any sort of content, because there's a lot of content that rewards Poetics nowadays. But I'm not entirely against the idea. I can think of plenty of times where Poetics, I'd wish I could just buy them because I haven't been paying attention to how many I have. Now, Phantasmagoria, probably not. The other big thing here is there's items with Phantasmagoria and, well, with tombstones in general, Poetics, and in this patch, Phantasmagoria, that you buy and you sell them. Essentially, this would take the player... Yeah, this actually is a major thing. You take the player aspect of purchasing tombstone items and the value of those items, and you tank them into the ground. So never mind, yeah, it sounds like a good idea on the surface. Maybe if it was just Poetics, because the amount of gil you can make with Poetics, I think it's like grade 3 topsoils, it's there. It could be like, 20, 40k sometimes, but it's certainly not as important as the Phantasmagoria. But I wouldn't be against this entirely, but it would have to be done very specifically, or it'd have to come with a weekly limit. That would be the other way to maybe bypass some of these problems. But yeah, maybe, but I want more gil sinks, so maybe I'm just biased towards that. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hope you're doing all right. Hello to you too, by the way. And looking forward to Baja and the new wards. Good luck with that. After the diet, I'm fried my brain. I've been doing a lot of Gold Saucer and Squadron activities. Is there a way to proc specific chemistries for my Squadron members? I just want to turn them into an MGP farm. No, there is not. And good fucking luck at getting the ones that you want exactly, because it's going to be a struggle. Also, for Blue Mage, what new spells would you hope to see? I don't really have any direct wishes. I just like to see what they do. Because we have, like, everything we really need. Like, maybe something that's better for healing or stuff that's better for tanking. Because DPS Blue Mage is great. But tanking and healing is a little awkward because you only have, like, Palm Cure and Gobskin and Exuviation. White Wind is there, but honestly, we had our tanks using White Wind most of the time because they would, like, time the heal to get themselves back to max HP. And because it was a massive amount of enmity, and a lot of the times they would be in Mighty Guard, and that would just be all the enmity they'd need to heal everyone up and make sure they never lost aggro. And Exuviation was kind of lame, to be honest. Everything was a GCD heal. I want an off global cooldown heal, so maybe something from Lakshmi. And for tanks, the tanking abilities other than Diamondback kind of suck, so something for them too that's a little bit better. So that's about it. Just stuff that's... I don't have a specific wish list of the abilities they could take, but something that's better for tanks and healers would be preferred, at least in theme. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi, Mr. Happy. Hello. Hope you're doing swell. I'm doing swell. Hope it's the same for you. I was wondering if you've seen the trailer for Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, so I've seen it, and I've kind of tempered expectations because there is no telling that game will ever come to exist or will come to exist in the manner with which we saw it. I've heard a lot of different things about it that are both ups and downs and things to trust and things not to trust. So I'm just going to wait till it happens, but man, that trailer was exciting. And if it comes out looking anything like that, sign me up. Hey, Mr. Happy. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays, by the way. Hey, Mr. Happy, first time asker, long time viewer. Jesus, I can't English today. With the development team adding flying to Eorzea, an amazing and surprisingly beautiful quality of life decision, has there been a lore or technical reason given to us as using mounts in cities and why we can't ride around to get from point A to B around Gridania? So this is not a lore reason, it's because it looks clustered as hell if there were to be mounts all running all around the town. Given the size of the towns, given the original towns, of course, and them being split up into two halves, it just is too packed. It's just an eyesore, essentially, to allow it in the cities. There might be some data-related reasons as well, things about the way they were coded and undoing that coding, or how the cities are loaded, or how much data is loaded in the cities, and so loading mounts in might add to that, which could cause problems. I don't know that, but I wouldn't be surprised to see those be potential problems. But also just doesn't look good, or it wouldn't look good because of the way the base cities are actually designed. Places like Idleshire, Rhalgr's Reach, they look okay, but like then you look at Kugane and you look at Yulmore and Crystarium, and it's like, they really don't want... Crystarium you can almost kind of get away with. Yulmore, definitely not. It would be a hideous thing in Yulmore. But it's just going to look too clustered, too cluttered, and unappealing, I think is a big reason why. Hashtag Mrhappy Mondays. Hey, apps, first time asker, not so much long viewer. So you're newer. Got it. Thank you. Welcome. I have a short question about the next expansion. Without the Fan Fest, how are they going to introduce us? Fortunately, we got that answer from the most recent live letter, and you're probably wondering, you probably know that already, but February 2021 will be an announcement that will follow up all the Fan Fest. It'll be a big announcement series followed by a 14-hour live stream, and then in May of 2021, at least that's currently planned, there is going to be an official digital fan festival. At least that's what they're currently planning, but that is, of course, still subject to change. At those places, I do expect the expansion to be 2 months late. I mean, everything else is 2 months late. There's no reason to expect the expansion won't be 2 months late. So I'm going to say like September, October for the next expansion. Next September or October. Hashtag Mrhappy Mondays. Hey, Haps, hope you're doing all right, because if you're not doing all right, then we ain't doing all right. I got you. What do you think of a system for the Masked Carnival where the weekly challenges the game gives you a set fight with set actions? You face off against the Iron Giant, but you only have Water Cannon and Loom. Well, now that you said it like that, now I don't want it, because that sounds boring as hell. I don't hate the idea, but I don't think it's the solution to make Masked Carnival more interesting. I'd say that they just needed more. I'd say they needed more modes. They needed stuff like endless modes, or I mean, they could still do these endless modes, or set challenges, or things that were not just here's 3 challenges for the week, beat these, get 600 allied seals, and call it a day. Or even group challenges for the Masked Carnival. Things like that would have spiced things up a little bit more, I feel like. But endless mode, where the enemies get tougher and tougher, and you have to use your actions more specifically, and you still only get to set a certain number of actions going in, so you need as much coverage. You can't just super brute force your way through a bunch of stuff. Even just a mode where you have to do all the battles back to back to back to back without ever dying or failing a single one. Set rewards for different tiers for it, achievements, whatever. I don't know. I just want Palace of the Dead for Blue Mage, man. I want it to just be the Blue Necromancer title. You can't get the normal Necromancer title. It's only the Blue Necromancer. You start with just Water Cannon on the first floor, and you have to learn all the spells for Blue Mage as you go throughout the Palace of the Dead with Blue Mage all the way up to 200. I'd rather have had that or something like that, to be honest. All right, I think that's the last of the non-lightning round questions, because I think I saw a few in here that I didn't like. I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. There's one about all of the different Windows games that were available. I was like, I have nothing to add to this. It's just like a rant about different just Windows 95 games. I'm like, okay, this isn't a question really. There's a question mark in there somewhere. But that's about it. That's about the best that I could do. There was another one that I saw in here not too long ago. I was just scrolling through, so that was kind of all over the place. There's the Black Myth Wukong one. There's the Diadem one, or the Squadron one. There's the Mount one. Few people saying, glad to hear you're taking care of your life. Thank you very much for that, by the way. Would you rather have SE focus more on lower gil income or better gil sinks? At this point, it needs to be gil sinks. There's too much gil in the game, and there's still too much gil being generated, so I'll say both. I don't think that one needs to be prioritized over the other. As for the mobile game that person asked about, have I played Guardian Tales? No, I've never even heard of it. I find your use of weekly thumbnails. So for weekly thumbnails, I straight up YouTube gives you 3 by default that you can use that are just based on like an early part of the video, a middle part of the video, and a late part of the video. I just do whichever one has the dumbest facial expression and say, fuck it, I don't need to make a thumbnail for this. My description of the internet was on point. Don't even remember what it was at this point. There was one, I'm not sure. Do you think the same feedback situation WoW does with its community speakers? 14 takes community feedback into account pretty heavily. We've seen that even with just the changes they've made to Bozja and the upcoming Queen Sanctum, which I'm sure people are going to get upset with me for calling Queen Sanctum instead of Regibulum. I don't even know. Delubrum Reginae, whatever the fuck it is. Queen Sanctum is what that means. That's what I'm calling it. They take feedback and they regularly address feedback, but it still has to match with something that is within the realm of A, possibility, and B, the overall vision of the game. Like, I remember even just going back to Void Ark, the 24-man at the beginning of the Shadows of Mach series. People were complaining on the forums, oh, this is too hard, they have to change it. And they literally, the developers literally said, we're not changing it. This is actually too easy, and it's going to be... Oh, no, I'm sorry, I got it the other way around. They said Void Ark was too easy and they wanted the 24-man to be a little bit more difficult than that. And then when the what's it called came out, the City of Mach, the lost, I can't even remember the fucking name, Ozma Boy. People complained it was too hard and they said, no, this is the difficulty it's supposed to be. We're not nerfing this. And they're pretty adamant about things when it needs to be correct. But then they looked at what happened with freaking Gordius and said, yeah, we can't ever do this again based on feedback. So they do listen to it, but it's not going to be down to the smallest of details. Generally, it does get back to them sooner or later, just a matter of how widespread of an opinion it is versus one person having this like one little thing that they want to say that just they think's a good idea, but maybe is not like the best for the community or something along those lines. And then I don't even remember the rest of this stuff. There's just a few thumbs up. There's a first in here. This guy's so genuine, which almost sounds like a bot. I'm not gonna lie, that almost sounds like a bot reply to me. But I think that's everything here. But anyway, that's going to be the end for this week's episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. If you have a question for next week's episode, be sure to ask it in the comment section below. 14 or otherwise, whatever it ends up being about. It's probably going to be some more about Genshin Impact at this point. Because I'm sure resins are going to be in next week's Mondays with Mr. Happy, knowing about how that's such a big topic in Genshin Impact. And now that I post a new video, it'll probably be the #1 topic. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for me. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. Thank you to our patrons again for supporting. Thank you to our patrons of Darkness, Khuja Cross, on Jenova, and Kurenai Oni. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out, and until then, take care.